Acupuncture is a technique that's popular with many humans. And as we're about to find out, four-legged patients are also enjoying the benefits.
I'm Dr. Doman, and this is Blue, and she's a star at Dover Downs, and we acupuncture her, which, if anybody knows anything about acupuncture, it's the same as human acupuncture. You can do it on any species. There's no differences species-wide about doing acupuncture. And what acupuncture is overall is in Chinese medicine, which has been around for thousands and thousands of years before we were even here in America and doing Western medicine and all of that. They believed there were meridians that go through the body. The meridians go from hand or foot in the horse to head, from head all the way back to hind foot, from hind foot to chest, and from chest all the way back. So they make circles, and each one is its own meridian. So there's one meridian that would go, say, from chest to foot, and one meridian that would go from front foot to head. And they affect different things, and some of them, the bladder channel, for example, goes all the way from the eye, back, right along here, all the way back down to the hind foot, and it loosens the whole back. Blue gets acupunctured all the time. She's a star. She loves it. She's been doing great at Dover Downs ever since we got her on track, and so today she's just going to have a tune-up because she raced yesterday. And the first thing we're going to do, there's a sedation point. It's right up on her head, and since she's inside, which she's not always inside, and she's a little nervous with the cameras and everything, we're just going to put a sedation point in her. Keep her nice and calm. And the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go through and feel all her points, and it's going to tell me if she's got any soreness or any issues after racing. She's been having some issues up here, and that's much better than it was last time we saw her. Yeah, she also had a chiropractic adjustment because her atlas and her axis, which are the two first bones in your spinal column that are right up here, they were really out of whack. And she needs another adjustment, but she's definitely night and day from where she was. So I just run along, and if she's sore somewhere, they let you know. Should care about that a little bit, yeah. Yeah, and see, if you could see back here, she is tensing all this up and twitching and sucking in her abdomen. Just giving us signs that she's sensitive there. So I use different needles that are different lengths. The ones that I put straight into her back, her spinal column is actually a good 6 or 8 inches down, so I can use a long needle like this. This one's probably about 3 or 4 inches to get down all the way to the points. And this, what I'm doing right now, I'm going to put in 2 points at opposite ends of her back, and that just opens and releases her entire back. See, and she took a big sigh and relaxed because it feels good. Sometimes they slide right in, and sometimes they just take a little more to get in, depending on how tense her muscles are and different things like that. Most, but not all the points, but most of the points are what's called transposed from human points, which means the first, atlas of acupuncture points was written for the human body. As it's evolved, found other points specific to species, like there's one point that is obviously specific to a horse because it's a colic point. And colic, is a disease that's very specific to horses. So we learn that only in the horse. So my course, we had to memorize 150 points for dogs and cats and 150 points for horses. Memorize, as well as all the theory behind it. It was harder than vet school. This is Blue's very favorite point. She likes to keep her needles in here. She doesn't always give them back to me. And I have that happen more often than you would expect, that an animal really needs strong treatment somewhere, and their bodies actually grip the needles and won't let them go, and I just have the owners pull them out at home later. A regular hypodermic needle that everybody's used to looking at and thinking about is hollow. There's a hole in it, and this whole edge is cutting. They hurt because they cut through cells, and that's how they go in, and this is what we obviously have to use. It's hollow. We have to use it to give injections or pull blood or anything like that. These needles, for one thing, obviously they're much thinner, but they're solid and they're blunt. What they do is they separate cells. So there's no cell trauma, so there's much less pain. Like I said, unless you directly hit a little tiny nerve ending or something like that. So I think people don't realize, they think needles and they think what they're used to in Western medicine, and these are really quite different. So it's been about 15 minutes, and actually Blue's kept her needles in really well today. You can see here, the body does what it wants with them. A lot of times they'll kick them out if they don't need it really. And she hasn't moved a step, so it's not like muscles have moved this. It's the body's reaction to it. It doesn't really need that one. So I'll pull it out since it's mostly out. Oh, and that's the straightest this one's ever been. Very often they come out very curly from that point. Here's a really good one. You know, I put them in perfectly straight. This is what the body does. We'll just keep putting them in front of the camera as they come out of different places. Oh, look, it's a question mark. I keep telling Jean Marie she needs to make, you know, a sculpture or a mobile out of these. Yeah. As you can see, you know, the body does what it needs to do. So Blue, like I said, she's my star right now. She was a horse that was going to be sold and not used as a racehorse anymore, and Jean Marie rescued her. And since we've been acupuncturing her, she has finished in the money every time except one. She started winning a lot of races. She's just done great, and you know, I know Jean Marie and I both feel it's the acupuncture. And she has another horse on the trailer that, since I've acupunctured, it has finished third twice in a row. And it's not just the horses, you know, the dogs and the cats we see great improvements in. Also, we just can't measure them as financially as we can in the racehorses.